Why does Ashe, the first archer, leader of the Freljord tribe, deal less damage than a Teemo auto? Why do I need to predict the future just to hit a single arrow? And why do I still voluntarily queue bot? So I did the only sane thing. I tried playing Ashe in 2025, thinking she's easy, she's safe, she's a classic. And oh boy, was I wrong. Within 2 games, I realized I'm not a marksman. I'm a glorified vision ward with a bow. But when you actually get her, like really get her, when every arrow starts landing, when every volley perfectly zones out the enemy, when your ult hits the enemy across the map, let me tell you, it feels magical. So, if you have ever wondered how to go from why am I playing Ashe to I am Ashe, then welcome. What is up, guys? My name is MipZ and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be teaching you guys a little bit about how to play Ashe. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible. Whether you're interested in learning Ashe or just want to hang out with me, then welcome. I appreciate you. But yeah, today I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about how to play Ashe. The prerequisite for this video is only that you know what the abilities do, because I'm not going to go into detail with every single ability and what they do. I'm going to come with probably some tips and tricks for how you can reset auto attacks and do different things. But overall, I expect you to know what each of the abilities do, including the passive. All right, so let's start out a little bit with why play Ashe, why this champion, and yeah, I'll make sure the gameplay got on there. That got a bit of a long big screen intro. I'm sorry for that. I forgot to swap it. I am playing the game live, so don't expect perfect gameplay. This is only to make it entertaining and to illustrate some points of how you play her and to have fun. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. This is not a high rated game or anything. This is just hang out, chill, and learn. But yeah, why play Ashe? Well, first of all, Ashe is honestly an extremely fun ADC, like really fun. And she can teach you quite a lot about not only how to play the game from any lane perspective, but especially if you want to get into the bot lane, and even if Ashe is not the champion that you particularly want to main, then this champion is still really good to play, at least for just a tiny bit, because she is one of those champs that teach you a lot about the role in a way that most other ADCs cannot. And what I mean with this is basically that seeing as Ashe has absolutely no mobility except her ability to slow others, then it puts a very high bar for your positioning in the game and for how you play. And while you're saying, well, my champion has a lot of mobility, so I don't need this, that is just not true. Because if you play another champion and you learn how to play Ashe, how to position correctly, then you're gonna honestly get exponentially better with your other champion. So even if you're a Kai'Sa main or something else, then playing Ashe for a bit is honestly gonna accelerate your gameplay quite a lot. So this is one of the great things about the champion. Apart from that, she is really fun and she's actually really good. So some of the downsides with Ashe is, of course, as kind of the flip side that I just told you about, that she has no ability or no mobility. Well, that's also kind of her downside, right? Because it is gonna put you in a situation where it's like you're very sustainable or susceptible to ganks in terms of all-in champions and assassins. So this champion teaches you to never run around by yourself, because if you do, you get slapped in the face with a chair and you're gonna flip upside down and you're dead. She really does teach you that. She's a really whoop, see if we can get a little bit poking. She is a very non-forgiving champion in that sense. Apart from that, she really teaches you to play around with your team in general, and because of this lack of mobility. But her lack of mobility combined with her slows does still make her a very, very formidable opponent. Because the fact of the matter is, whenever Ashe locks onto a target, then due to her passive, like, then she doesn't... Oh my god, that was bad. Then she never really locks off it. Like, most champions will try to instantly turn around because it's very difficult to get out of Ashe's grasp. Like, her grasp, she holds tight around people's neck, and yeah, it's really difficult to get out of it. So that's some of the really, really fun things. Ashe in the early game is not a extremely strong champion. She's not bad, but she ain't great either. Generally speaking, you are in most games not going to be farming champion kills in the early game. And it's not your objective. Like, great if you do, great if you can. I can teach you some tips about how and when we can kind of power spike to try and get some kills fairly early. But generally speaking, we're not going to be able to do it unless we have a good support that can set up the kills, such as a really good enchanter is generally quite nice with Ashe. So yeah, we're not a champion that we pick to get a lot of kills early. We are kind of a scaling champ. Once you get that second item on Ashe, then you really start to scale, and that's where it's going to be really fun. Apart from that, Ashe has a lot of utility. She is kind of what I personally would call a utility ADC. That doesn't mean she doesn't have any we're just gonna lock it here so we don't get undershirt if we can. There we go. This doesn't mean that she doesn't have any damage. She definitely does. She does actually do quite a lot of damage. Once you get into the mid and late game, then she's extremely strong. But what I mean with utility ADC is basically that she brings a lot to her team to put pressure around the map. Like, now we are level 6. In theory, we could look for a all up on Yorick up here. I might actually do so. Let's just give it a shot. I think right around here, I'm gonna ping, see if we can get him. I think that might hit actually. So I think that's right around where I predicted it. Yep, and that's probably gonna be a free kill up there for the Rek'Sai. Nah, okay, yeah. I hoped he would do it. No, he had like 3 seconds free. Anyway, we probably equaled the playing field a little bit up there. And this is going to already put some pressure on Yorick, knowing that, okay, so there is an Ashe on the bot side of the map who's literally keeping an eye on what's going up here. So him going into engages, he will be a bit more scared. Also, as you go into middle late game, you have the option to pick people out of position, save your teammates. And probably the most underrated thing, if you ask me, is Ashe's E. So Ashe's E is this eagle that flies around, and I see a lot of people using this ability quite little, especially at lower elos. People just don't really use it, which kind of sucks. And also, I feel like what I see is most people also use it poorly, in the sense that whenever they throw it, then let's see if we can get a little bit of poke in here. I'm gonna be a little careful. Whenever they throw it, they just see whether or not they can see a champion, and if they can, they're like, oh great, okay, there he is. And what most people don't realize is a lack of information is information. And I'll try to explain a little bit more what I mean with this. Let's see if I can move up here. Really want to see if I can help. This is bad. I think this might be bad. I'm gonna... Okay, maybe not. That was actually turned out a lot better than I expected. Yone ran away, and that guy apparently committed. Not sure why he did that, but that's great. But okay, so let me just explain what I mean with lack of information is information. That is, if I throw my E, the eagle, and let's say I throw it across the map, let's throw it into this place, right? I throw it over here, and maybe I do this in early game, and what I see now is I see red buff is there and raptors are there. I don't see any champions. But what does this tell me? Well, first of all, this tells me that very soon I can expect their junglers to be bot sides because their entire like camp is there. All of their camps are there, so most likely they are going to be moving bot side. Apart from that, it also tells me that like if I threw this very early in the game, it could have told me that if I threw this, it could have told me he started blue side, or maybe it could even tell me that he invaded early, right? So there's a lot of things you can do. I actually really need it back. I've been extending this way too much. This is not good, actually. I've been way too busy. Yeah, so as I said, this is not supposed to be perfect gameplay, just supposed to illustrate and be funny or entertaining. All right, we can get here. I see that 6 actually has no mana, so I'm gonna commit to this. The only thing I'm a little afraid of here is whether or not their support will be coming down, but that's gonna give me my chance to get back. And always when you're in lane, look at whether or not people have mana, because if they don't have mana, you can see a scenario like this where you just literally auto attack them and you get them to use their flash. That's just great. I'm gonna take a potion because I know, like right now, as we're explaining, I'm not so keen on optimizing my back, so we might stay a bit more in lane than we actually should. Anyway, your E is actually a really, really nice tool. Also here, I would like to see whether or not there's anyone on Drake. There's not. We can check. Yeah, he cleaned he cleaned his red buff. So at this point, he either just did it, but then we would probably have seen him, or he's top side. So most likely at this point, we know that the jungler is top side. If our jungler at this point was bot side, what we could have done is actually we could have considered going Drake, because we know, you can see right here, he actually is up here. I'm gonna look for a cross map here, see if there's anything I can help. I need to be a little careful because these guys are pushing as well, but I would actually like to look for a cross map stun, because I don't think there's much I can do in my lane. We had a DCing Morgana, so we're just playing it safe at the moment. So I'm more looking to see whether or not I can help somewhere else. Rek'Sai is struggling top side, so a stun on that guy at the moment won't help unless Mundo comes up there. He does. I'm gonna ult right here because I think he's gonna see Mundo, and then he's gonna run right into my arrow with a little bit of luck. No. Okay. Well, it was worth a shot. It's not too far off. Now I'm just throwing off all our CS, but whatever. But the way you need to fire this arrow is basically you need to try and predict where the enemies are going. It's quite simple, but it is quite difficult to master. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how to actually play the early game on a very low level explanation. Okay, so right here, he's gonna whoop. I'm gonna pop that. That's gonna be good. Oof. All right, let's talk a little bit about how to very simply play the early game. So as I said, Ashe is not really a champion that strives in the early game in terms of going for a lot of kills. This is quite I'm gonna say rare. I don't know if that's the real correct term for it, but that's not why you pick her. But what you want to do in the early game, because you already know this, you need to have this in your mindset that you are not a champion that is here to dominate early game. So for that reason, you need to play safe. You need to farm, get as much CS as you can. And the way you do that is using your general laning strategies for wave management, and to keep yourself relevant in the lane, then you want to try and poke the enemy using your W. If you are struggling against something, let's say you're playing versus something like a Draven. Draven is something that Ashe particularly struggles against. Then you might have to use your W mostly for farming. So you're trying to just get some extra last hits using that ability. But generally speaking, otherwise, try to hit your W. I actually wanted to clean that control ward, but I'm a little afraid of doing it at the moment. So I'm a little unsure how many are here. Drake is spawning. York is bot side, but York is very fit at this point. He's 203. I'm gonna clean this. I feel like I'm safe to do it at the moment. I'm gonna clean that, and we're gonna run the safe way back. I'm gonna put a control ward. So yeah, in the early game, you just want to try and poke using your W. If you're playing with an enchanter, then you can poke a lot of people out of the lane, actually. And you can even get some kills. But generally speaking, use your W to poke. Whenever you go for an engage, then like a small optimization is auto attack first before you pop your Q, because your Q is actually an auto attack reset. So this means that if you, I'll try and see if I can show you. So if we attack this minion, oh damn it, okay. If we attack the minion with an auto attack and then click Q, then instantly we can auto attack again. So this is kind of optimizing our damage a little bit. So this is something you really want to be doing to kind of min-max things. But as a new player, this is of course not your main concern. All right, so I'm gonna fire off an ult here. That one's gonna hit, and we can go up here and help. So you can see how we can put pressure around the map quite extensively. Whether or not this is worth it is a good question. We won't be able to save that turret, so I think we should just push here. Like, it is pointless trying to go there at this point. We made a call. It probably wasn't the best of calls, but we made a call. And at this point, it's better for us to push. Our team goes down and fights. And this is one of those times where what you want to be thinking about is whether or not the fight makes sense. Are you fighting for an objective, or are you just fighting to fight? Oh my god. So if our team had all stayed here, we would most definitely have killed the mid turret, and then we would just have traded mid turret for bot turret. And in my book, that's a win. Like, most commonly, it's much better getting a mid turret than a bot turret. So for that reason, I would have taken that trade any day. All right, we're going to be going down here. We're going to grab this farm. I don't think there's going to be coming a fight out of this. If there is, I'm in a kind of annoying position here. I have 20 seconds to my ult. We can't flash. I think... Oh, we can't flash. I have 1 minute. Sorry. That's actually... He's slowed, so we can still catch him. And I can just W over. So this guy's just going to get run down. And he wasted all his shit for nothing. So that's great. All right. Twisted is mid. So we're going to stay here. We have Morgana around us. Lee just respawned. So we have... Or Lee is top, sorry. So we have all information we need. So for this point, we can actually stay a little bit by ourselves. Generally speaking, you never want to be by yourself. He pings on me. I honestly did not see that. I don't know if I could have changed it. I don't think I could. I think that guy's just way too strong. Yeah, he bought Thorn Mail. No way I couldn't change that out. I would have died with him. So yeah. All right, we're gonna go back. We're gonna grab that, and then we're gonna get this. I think we'll get an extra run. There's 2.5 minutes till next Drake. All right, so yeah, just really sum up of early game. Just play safe, farm, poke with W. That's kind of the gist of it. As you go into the mid game, this is where things really start to ramp up for Ashe, where she really begins to be able to do something. Oh wow. He's hurt a lot. That was actually really painful. I would have loved the Twisted Fate to go bot. But that's fine. I'm going to say no. Oh my god, I don't hope my team surrenders, because this is completely doable. So we have turret shots on that. Oh. But in the mid game, you want to group up with your team and never really play alone. Again, try to optimize your gold. Holy shit, they surrender. I'm so sorry. But you want to try and optimize your gold income, and you always want to try to be playing behind your team. And what I mean with playing behind your team is that you never want to be the front line. Ashe really needs to play around a strong front line, like a Mundo or something else, and just kite away. That's a big part about Ashe. So as soon as you go out of the early game, then you want to transist into the mid game. Generally speaking, you will be going into the mid lane as well, and the mid laner will most likely go into the side lanes. The reason for this is basically when you do this, you and your support position yourself closer to both objectives. and you are two players which then can support both lanes. It's generally speaking quite a good approach. But yeah, you just want to try to play the backline at all times. Never ever run around alone. It really sucked that they surrendered this game. I feel like this was a kind of a good game to showcase things, but this is how it goes. But yeah, I don't know. I'll just skim through if I have some notes here, if there's anything that is really important for me to just highlight. I don't really think so, but yeah, as you get into the mid to late game, this is where Ashe really shines. Like, she is gonna do so much more damage, and your positioning is just key. Play a little bit back, always stay behind your team, and just kite. Use your ult to pick people out of position, people that are overextending. When you see someone that is bot, like let's say that you're 4 people in the mid lane, and you see that the enemy team has 1 in bot and 1 in top, so there are only 3 in mid, and then you fire off your ult to start the engage. Your ult is a really strong tool for your team, and so is the eagles to figure out where people are. Anyway, I hope you found this this video somewhat helpful. If you did, make sure to smash like. Don't forget to subscribe. I will most definitely make another one on Ashe where we can illustrate the mid to late game, but I do hope this was helpful nevertheless. So yeah, with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.